We are broadcasting today from the temporary Rotary headquarters in the Rose Garden. Please take a moment now and mute your access. And when our speaker is finished, we can unmute and give him a round of applause.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Now, I am happy to introduce Ini Ubul, who is a member of our club, who spent 5 days this March on a medical mission doing medical outreach in Nigeria. Ini, are you there? Oh, you'll have to unmute now, Ini.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Hi, President Karen, Tim Gill, President Chairman of our International Committee, Mike, the previous one, Mike Fulton, members of International Service Committee, and fellow Rotarians. Good afternoon. Thank you for the support. I have to use this opportunity to say thank you for the support during the medical mission. Your donation of medical equipment, anesthesia machine, and Buffy machine went a long way during the mission. We went to Nigeria for medical mission outreach with 33 volunteers from United States, 1 volunteer from Canada, 2 volunteers from London, and our mission started on Monday, March 9, and end on Friday, March 13, 2020. And we were able to see 1,200 patients for the general medicine, and that is outpatient. Out of this 1,200, we gave them free surgical. That's for 81 patients receive either fibroid surgical or hernia or coitus. And really, the machine helped. We were able to see children as well. And we screened them for hypertension and diabetic, and we gave medication. We screened them for HIV and AIDS, and we made referral to teaching hospital over there. 86 patients received dental services. Then let's go back to the eye services. The eye services weren't included in 1,200. We saw 1,010 patients for the eye. Out of that number, 1,000 received free reading eye classes, and 51 patients received free cataract surgery. We also provide other services and referral to them. And our mission, normally, we have to target the rural area where there is no access to healthcare or limited access to healthcare. That's where we usually target to provide these services. It went well. At the end of the day, we were able to touch so many lives. Despite some of us were trapped in because of the COVID-19. And I said, thank you so much. Thank you. I have few pictures to share. And President Karen, please.
And thank you, Eni, for that presentation. Thank you.
Welcome.
Eni, thank you so much. Because of you, the Rotary Club of San Jose was able to touch the people of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And now I'm really happy that we have 2 new members today to introduce. So I would like to start with Dominic. Dominic, I hope you're here. I haven't seen you yet.
Hi, President Karen. I'm here.
Okay.
Good
Great.
to see you.
Good to see you. Dominic is in charge of fundraising and development for San Jose State University's athletic department, and his sponsor is Paul Cantor. So you will be a great addition to our club, and we have the new San Jose State University committee that I know you're involved in. So I've got some fun facts about you, Dominic, and I want to see if Ed Krause can figure out which is the fake fact. Ed, are you here? That's really bad. I'm calling you Ed. Okay, Kathleen Thomas, I saw you earlier.
I'm here.
Okay, unmute.
I'm
We gotta improvise, baby.
Sorry, I'm here. I am here.
Oh,
Ed.
there he
Sorry
is.
about that. I
Okay,
had my mute on by
okay.
accident.
Ed, I'd almost counted you out. I could almost fine you for that, but
Please don't.
okay. So here's Dominic's fun facts. He's of Basque descent. He owns a French bulldog. He met his first wife at 4th Street Pizza in downtown San Jose.
It's just my wife. I've only had one wife.
He played 9 holes of golf with Bill Murray. You ruined that, Dominic. I was going to explain that. Now he already knows. This is making it too easy for Ed.
Oh, my bad.
He played 9 holes of golf with Bill Murray. He loves fireworks, and his favorite restaurant of all time is in North Beach, and it's called Tomaso's. What do you think, Ed?
Well, I guess if we're being lawyer-like, President Karen,
Yeah.
he met his first wife at 4th Street Pizza because he only has one wife. Did he give it away?
Well, no, that is a true fact. That is his first wife, his only wife.
Okay, I'm going to go with that. I don't think he met her at 4th Street Pizza.
Really? Wow, Ed, that we kind of gave that. Okay, well, Dominic, explain, what is the fake fact here?
The fake fact is that I played 9 holes of golf with Bill Murray.
I thought that was too obvious, President Karen.
It is.
Except for you, Ed, except for you.
Yeah.
It's true that one fateful Margarita Monday night at 4th Street Pizza is where I met my wife.
Good. Well, that worked out. That worked out. Well, we're very happy to have you join our club, and I can just hear everyone clapping and welcoming you. And Dominic, is there anything you want to say to the club as we welcome you to join us?
Sure. I just want to thank you for the introduction, and I'm really excited to be a part of the Rotary Club. I want to thank Paul Cantor, my sponsor. I also want to thank Vince Sanzeri and Kathleen Thomas, who both reached out to me at the beginning of when I joined, and they kind of helped welcome me and show me the ropes. And also, I just did a quick scan. I see fellow Spartans Art Lund and Steve Kaplan on the call as well, and I'm sure there are many more of you Spartans out there that I'm looking forward to building a relationship with. So
great. Well, thank you very much and welcome. We look forward to seeing you in person. Okay, and this is our second new member, Eliot Temple. And Eliot is VP of Business Development at Glideways. His sponsors are Rod Deardawn and Rodney Mayer. Eliot, are you here?
I'm here.
Great. And I am wondering, let's put up your fun facts here. Let me see, who should I call on? I wonder if Judge Towery's here. Are you here, Judge Towery? You have to unmute if you are. Do you know how to unmute, Judge Towery?
I am here and unmuted.
Okay, good.
I assume the no fine policy still applies?
Well, I haven't decided that.
Okay.
So I'm going to read the fun facts for Eliot Temple, and you have not seen these, is that correct?
I have not seen these.
Okay.
Not a clue.
Here they are. He waited for 8,000 sheep to pass while cliffside on his dirt bike in the Carpathian Mountains. He started his first business at 11 years old. He raced Clint Eastwood down a public road and lost horribly. He attended his first Rotary meeting at the age of 6. He owns a dog daycare business. He works with a team that has solved traffic and commuter congestion, and he wants to be fined.
I'm tempted to go with that last one, that he wants to be fined, because no rational person should want to be fined. But
okay, for that I am fining you right now.
But that was not my guess. I am going to guess that the false fact here is racing Clint Eastwood down a public road and losing horribly. The rest of them seem more plausible than that one.
Really? Really? How many 6-year-olds have you seen at Rotary meetings?
Why don't we just tell us what the false fact is?
Eliot, take it away.
So I did absolutely race Clint Eastwood down Carmel Valley Road. I grew up in Carmel, and I did lose terribly in my Volkswagen Golf.
I'm so sorry. I was just going to say, I couldn't get
the false fact here is, attended my first Rotary meeting at age 6.
That was probably the easiest false fact of the year. So I'm happy to find Towery, and thank you for playing. Eliot, we just think you're such a good sport to be introduced here via Zoom virtually. So welcome to the Rotary Club. We all welcome you. And is there anything you would like to say to the club, as we're all excited to have you join us?
No, I'm extremely appreciative that Rod Deardawn pressed me to learn more about it. And during our first couple of meetings I attended, I think it was genuinely something I need in my life, more balance, but more opportunity to do good and bring good to the community. These are challenging times, but I've been really pleased to see how many people have joined this call as well as others. And yeah, I'm just really appreciative of the opportunity, and excited for normalcy to occur again, of course. But yeah, let me know what I can do, and I'll do all that I can.
Thank you very much. And so it's a true fact that you want to be fined, Eliot?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're fined. You'll
Thank you.
get the bill. Thank you very much. Hey, I want everyone to register for the gala. And it's really easy. And if you're having any trouble registering on your phone, please contact me and I'll walk you through it. But all you do is get that little green bubble that's for text messages on your phone. You put 243-725 in the to column. You type in SJ Rotary in the message, and then you press the little green button, and you will be registered for the gala. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, last week we talked about what we're doing for COVID, and I want to add to that story. And for those of you who weren't here last week, here's how it went. I'm kind of doing this like a football play, and I'm sorry to report that our speaker today is a Green Bay Packers fan, but I know he loves football, so I kind of got this as a play-by-play for Jeff Rosen. Okay, first we have our executive director, Leslie Hamilton. She had a big idea. Let's do something for COVID in our community. So I said, hey, that's great. We took it to both boards, the club board and the foundation board. They all voted. That's a great idea. Let's get two movers and shakers, Elizabeth Monley of the Disaster Relief Committee and Sarah Klish of Contributions. Let's get them together to see how we can best meet the need in a big way in our community. So what did they do? They went to their rotary phone and they got lots of ideas from different people. But one idea that really stood out came from Michelle Loxon. And she said, I think Catholic Charities could use a disaster relief truck. They're doing a lot of work and need to do more outreach to underserved areas of San Jose. So we took that idea back to Elizabeth and Sarah, and they go, yeah, but getting a truck is a big deal. So they contacted Rotarian Jeff Spino, who said, I can help you, sure. So we took the truck, the idea, and took it back to both boards, and we voted to do it. And after we did that, and after we announced it, Jonathan Wilhelm said, hey, do you need a wrap? Can I do the branding on the truck for you? And so I want to thank him very much, because we have just lowered the cost of that project. And he is currently working on what our disaster relief truck will work on. This is just a mock-up. It's not the actual one. But we believe this will be on the road in about 3 weeks. It will be delivering food. And after the COVID passes, it will be doing some mental health assessments in different areas of San Jose. So thank you all for doing that. And Jonathan, you're just terrific. And speaking of the gala and our great project, once you register, you can go onto your phone and you can donate directly to this very project. So take a look at BidPal and see what you want to donate to, but this is one option. Let's get ready for the gala.
How you doing, everyone? I'm Sean O'Kane, and welcome, fellow Rotarians, to opening day of a week-long Rotary auction leading into the first ever clothing optional Rotary Gala, as Comerica presents Pants Schmance.
Hello, fellow Rotarians. This is Bert George. I'm so happy to be here to talk about the virtual gala for the Rotary Club of San Jose. Normally, Cindy and I would be pouring wine for you at this event, but I can't do that this year. So everyone that registers is going to get a bottle of our Joseph George Sauvignon Blanc. That means you, Sean, that means you're going to get the first bottle. and everyone can enjoy that night and bid on all these beautiful, beautiful items that we have this year. Here's the bottle. It's our 2019 Sauvignon Blanc, and I want everyone to enjoy.
What a great event to dress classy for, and I'm classy in this, huh? What do you think? Look at this. Look at this. I used to be a model at Nordstrom. Not. But the event's going to be great. The auction's going to be really fun. We've got the best 8 gifts we've had in all the years I've been doing it. So get your wallets, get your classy outfits, and we'll see you there. Take care.
Thanks so much for the awesome stylings of Carl Salas. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to draw names and announce winners of the raffle prizes live in real time as well.
So today we started delivering the wine, and the raffle tickets will show up on your bid pal once you register, as I showed you. And here is Sarah Janigan, who's organized the delivery of all these fabulous bottles of wine. And there's an essential worker coming to pick up a number of the bottles. So don't forget to register. And thank you so much to our sponsors for their generosity and for sticking with us for the virtual auction and gala. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have different rooms you can go into. We're going to have jazz. And of course, you'll have your bottle of wine and your wallet, and you'll be all ready. Now, we have 8 Blue Badgers today who spent the last unusual year of Rotary in their first year. And I want to congratulate each of you, Bill, Steve, Jake, Tom, Sarju, Daniel, Doug, and Sean. It was a rough first year with a lot of ups and downs. You improvised, but you all earned your blue badges, and I want to congratulate you. And we really look forward to seeing you in person. And I know you've all been extremely active already, and I very much appreciate that. So we all welcome you. I can't get over this bid pal and how much fun it is. Once you register, you'll see all the different categories of things that you can bid for. I mean, for instance, Heather Lerner will be your best friend for a week. She's already, as of yesterday, it was up to $125. And I mean, what could be better than to have Heather Lerner as your best friend for a week? So please don't forget to register. And you can bid on Heather. Now, I have another report on some international work we've done. Sandra Jewett was going to give this report, and she wasn't able to be here. As you know, at the beginning of the year, we formed an alliance with the oldest Rotary Club in Mexico City. And you can see the president here with his San Jose Rotary hat on. But what they have going and what our club has contributed to help them is very much like our enterprise leadership project. They have a project with a group of people, and it's called the Sheep Project. And it's an education program which will take place in Hidalgo, Mexico. And that's where most of the sheep growers are and wool producers are in Mexico. This program teaches people to learn a hands-on approach to running a business, to networking, and how to make various products such as cheeses, wool goods, and other products. So we're very proud to have helped our sister club in Mexico City complete this project, and I know next year we're going to be doing more with them. So thank you, Sandra Jewett, for your work and making that connection for us. Let's see what Rotarians are up to. I think they've all lost their pin. And I know I said we wouldn't have any, we would not have any fines during this year, but I saw Mike Chappie was here. He hasn't been in here in a long time, and I'm sorry, Mike, I'm finding you. Here's some other Rotarians. I want to congratulate Nuria Fernandez, General Manager of VTA. Bart finally came to San Jose, and the Mercury News had a front page picture. There's Nuria just to the right of the mayor, and there's Rod Dearden. So we have 3 Rotarians who are instrumental in making that happen. So congratulations to you. Here's Karen Philbrick, Executive Director of Minetta Transportation Institute. She was on television talking about this. You can't see her rotary pin. I can't see anyone's rotary pin. This is very disappointing. I want to tell you that the Rotary Book Club is reading Cyber War by Kathleen Hall Jameson, and I had 5 winners. So, whoops, we had 5 winners. And that meant that Jim and I had to drive all over San Jose delivering these hats. So this week, it's much more difficult. I have 3 mystery Rotarians. And in order to win the hat, you have to get all 3. So just take a moment there and see if you can determine who they are. You have to text or email me, and you will win a hat if you can identify all 3. Don't blurt it out. Next week, we're going to have the Rotometer, Rotarians of the Month, the recipient of the Gene Harris Award, and a thank you from me, and a welcome to President Fernando. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. And this week, as you know, we have Jeff Rosen. And I just want to give a brief introduction to Jeff. And I also want to welcome his chief assistant, Jay Boyarsky, who is here today as my guest. Last July, for the first meeting of the Rotary year, I invited Mike Farrell of television MASH fame to tell us why he doesn't believe in the death penalty. And now for the last full meeting of the Rotary year, I'm proud to have our district attorney, Jeff Rosen of criminal justice reform fame, talk about racism and the criminal justice system. I bookend this last Rotary year with these topics because I believe the quality of life in a community is reflected by the quality of its criminal justice system. In his 10 years as our district attorney, Jeff has established a reputation as one of the most innovative, progressive, and intelligent DAs in the country. And let me mention only a few of the remarkable steps he has taken. He established a nationally acclaimed conviction integrity unit, established a model protocol for transparent investigation of police officer involved shootings, created and implemented a misdemeanor diversion program. He sends community prosecutors into underserved neighborhoods to reduce youth crime. In the aftermath of the Gilroy shooting at the Garlic Festival, he created the Gilroy Strong Resiliency Center. And I know that our Rotarian, Brian Welch, was instrumental in helping him with that effort. Jeff supported reformation of the 3 strikes law. He's one of only 2 elected DAs to support Prop 47, which reclassified drug possession and minor theft crime to misdemeanors. He worked with the governor on Senate Bill 10 for better pretrial release procedures. He's accomplished all of this while continuing the work of DA's office in prosecuting serious crimes. Some of the notable achievements under his leadership include the conviction of Supervisor George Shirakawa for stealing public funds, the conviction of 3 correctional guards for murder of a mentally ill inmate, Michael Tyree, and that case was handled by Rotarian Matt Breaker. Convictions of Nuestro Familia, criminal street gang for murder, drug trafficking, and robbery.
Rotary? No. Okay, I'll tell you about Dr. Bonnie.
And let's everyone mute. The conviction of the killer of 15-year-old Sierra Lamar, the conviction of Stanford swimmer Brock Turner. And Rotarian Terry Harmon played a major role in that prosecution. The office has 640 employees, including almost 200 attorneys. Jeff's hiring practice has been a model of diversity, with women representing 50% of the prosecutors and minorities representing 40% of the prosecutors. Jeff has taken dozens of employees to the Museum of Tolerance in LA to learn about the Holocaust, racial profiling, and implicit bias. Last year, Jeff led a delegation of a dozen prosecutors to Montgomery, Alabama, to visit the Legacy Museum, the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, and to learn more about the issues of race and discrimination that continue to dominate our political life. And as we know, he also made a trip to Germany to learn how the Germans have a model system for rehabilitation and preserving human dignity. It is my pleasure to welcome our speaker, District Attorney Jeff Rosen.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you for that very warm introduction. And if I understand, in keeping with Rotary tradition, I should speak for, say, 20 minutes or so and save 10 minutes for questions. Is that how you'd like to proceed?
I would love it. That'd be perfect. And in this case, they will be sending questions to me via chat, and I will give them to you. So we'll get a lot more questions in that way.
Okay, that sounds great. So I want to talk about race in the criminal justice system, where we've been, where we are, where we're going. And then I want to say a few words about some courageous citizens that did some tremendous good for our community in the last year. So let's talk about where we've been in terms of race and the criminal justice system. I joined the DA's office in 1995. At the time, people smoked cigarettes, not marijuana. The DA's office was predominantly white and male. The three strikes law had been passed in 1994, which was the high watermark of legislation that increased incarceration, increased prison sentences. It was an example of that kind of approach to criminal justice. Our jail population was in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s, hovered almost to 5,000 in our jail here at Elmwood and Main Jail. When I took office in 2011, there were more than 320 kids in juvenile hall. African Americans and Latinos were disproportionately represented in terms of who we were arresting, prosecuting, convicting, ending up in jail or ending up in juvenile hall. So that's where we have been. Where are we now? A lot of progress, but not finished yet. People no longer smoke cigarettes. They now smoke marijuana. As Karen alluded to, our prosecutorial staff is 50. Women are 50% of the managers and supervisors in our office as well. And overall, in terms of African Americans, Latinos, Asian Americans, LGBTQ, more than 40% of our office is represented in those groups. So we've made a lot of progress in trying to make our office look more like the community that it serves. A lot of reform in terms of criminal justice law, in terms of where we are now. Karen alluded to three strikes reform, which I supported, Prop 47 reform, which I supported. We've also had other propositions which have dramatically decreased the number of people going to jail or prison, have lowered the penalties, have provided for more expanded parole opportunities to lessen the number of individuals that are in jail or prison. There's been a real focus on drug treatment, diversion, mental health treatment. Not enough, but definitely a focus in that direction. We've had for many years a policy that we call a collateral consequences policy, which we started here and then has been replicated in many DA's offices around the country, which is a policy that tries to mitigate immigration consequences like deportation for people that commit low-level misdemeanor type offenses. And it's a program that's helped us build trust with our immigrant community. And remember, in Santa Clara County, 40% of our residents were not born in the United States. So we have a lot of immigrants here. And this is a policy that's helped to balance fairness and accountability. And it's resulted in hundreds of people not being deported, not being denied naturalization for low-level criminal offenses. Karen talked a little bit about our conviction integrity unit, our oversight of police use of force. A couple other things I would point to. We have a victim services unit that we were able to bring in-house into the DA's office and provide services to tens of thousands of victims of crime each year. Everything from restitution to counseling to support when they go to court, to shelter, to all kinds of services. And it's a way for us to try to serve our community better and to recognize that justice is a lot more than just holding the perpetrator accountable and sending that person to jail or prison. Justice also has to include helping the victim of that crime get back on their feet. And I think all too often we used to think, and I'll count myself in this, that the way we helped victims was by being very punitive towards defendants. And I think we all recognize that's not really true. They're two separate things. They're related. But in order to really help victims, we need to do a lot more than just hold the perpetrators accountable. We need to help the victims reintegrate back into society by providing support. So that's something our victim services unit does. In terms of where we are today of crime, in the mid-90s, we were at a high point in terms of crime, both property crime and violent crime in our county, in our state, in our country. Today, crime is at its lowest rate in decades. That's violent crime, property crime. They're all at historic lows. Our jail population, while it hit a peak of 5,000 back in the early 2000s, now pre-COVID, right? So in February of this year, our jail population was about 3,400. So about a third lower than where we were in the early 2000s, and a much lower incarceration rate when you take into account that our population has also grown since then. That was our jail population right before COVID. Once COVID hit and the jail health doctor wanted us to lower the population of the jail to try to prevent the spread of COVID or an outbreak, we worked collaboratively with the sheriff and the public defender's office and brought our jail population safely down to about 2,200. So that's a tremendous difference from where it was. Now, while our jail population has gone down and our juvenile hall population is now under 100, so it was around 320 and now it's under 100. So those are all very good and positive things, right? We want to have both low crime and low incarceration rates. So as few people in jail or prison as we can, and as low a crime rate as we can. So we're doing well, but the demographics of individuals that are in jail and prison in our county look almost identical to what they did 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. They're disproportionately African American and Latino. So on the one hand, we have a lot fewer African Americans and Latinos in jail, in juvenile hall today than we did 10 years ago. On the other hand, those percentages have remained the same. And the issue of disproportionality is very difficult to address. Where we are going, I believe we will be smoking new substances that are organically grown, fair traded, conflict free, small batched, and artisanal. Now, more seriously, I think where we are going is we will see police officers doing fewer things or having a lot more assistance in doing some of the things they do. A lot of police officer time is taken dealing with individuals that are homeless, mentally ill, or drug addicted. There is also a racial component on top of homelessness, mental illness, and drug addiction. And the continuous friction between police officers and these groups is very problematic. It's not really what police officers were trained to do. And so one of two things, or maybe both, is going to happen. Police officers are going to get a lot more help doing those things from mental health professionals and from others, and or police officers will be doing fewer of those kinds of things because others in our community will be called to deal with those issues. I believe that we will have more police officers with training focused more on service and guardianship. I think we will see the training of police officers change and shift to more of a guardian service role. But I do not believe that we will see fewer police officers. I think there's no support for that, and I don't think that's a good idea. But in fact, I think we may see more police officers who are not armed. They will be armed, but they will not have as many aggressive tools or weapons, and will present a more friendly and guardian and service orientation. I think we will continue to see the continued expansion of mental health diversion and drug treatment as an option in lieu of incarceration. We will absolutely see more oversight of police use of force and police misconduct. And that's going to come from a variety of places, including the district attorney's office, where we've been quite vigorous over the years in reviewing police uses of force. But I think we will continue and expand our efforts in that way. We will see an elimination of cash bail. We will see the voters reject an effort to have cash bail that the bail bonds industry has put on the ballot. And I think we'll see a system where judges are deciding whether someone is too dangerous to release, and that's a small number of people. Most of the people arrested are safe enough to release with conditions, ankle monitoring, drug and alcohol testing, stay away orders, without using bail, which penalizes poor people and disproportionately penalizes minorities as well. You'll see race-blind issuing. You'll see our DA's office doing more and more of its issuing of cases without knowing the race of any of the people that are involved. This is something that technology is allowing us to do. It's something we couldn't really do before. It was very labor intensive, but technology and the electronic receipt of police reports is going to allow us to do more things in a race-blind way. We will be moving to eliminate fines and fees in the criminal justice system for those who are indigent. We will see the easy and automatic expungement of criminal convictions for qualifying cases after the successful completion of probation. Again, there's technology that is helping us in the DA's office to expunge these records quickly, efficiently, and that's going to be a great benefit to individuals. We will see more community engagement to reduce crime. We have community prosecutors, and we will see more of an effort, not only by law enforcement, by the DA's office, to lean in to what the community is telling us and what the different voices are telling us. And I hope, and I'm working toward the best I can, to try to move our jails and prisons to places that really offer rehabilitation opportunities. As Karen alluded to, I saw prisons in Germany that really encouraged, allowed for rehabilitation and made that possible and made that the likely result for individuals sentenced to prison. I've seen in some of our prisons in California, particularly San Quentin, some excellent programs and some amazing inmates that are changing their lives and successfully reintegrating back into our society. And I hope to see and will advocate to see more of that. It's a benefit for all of us. I think that we will continue to have a low jail and low juvenile hall population. I don't know if it will be as low as it is today, but it certainly will not go back to what it was 10 or 15 years ago. The question, will those incarcerated either in jail or juvenile hall, even if the numbers remain low, will they still be disproportionately African American and Latino? I don't know, and we all hope not. Those are my 3 things: where we were, where we're going, where we've been, where we're going, etc. I just want to say a word for just a couple minutes. I know that Rotary is a very positive-minded group of individuals, and I wanted to just say a word about the recipients of the DA's office's Karen Sinanu-Towery Courage Award this year. And yes, the award was named for Karen Sinanu-Towery, who, as you all know, was, is, and will continue to be a very courageous person. So Karen will show the picture of the group. And all right, so I'm the guy, the swarthy guy in the suit in the middle. To the far left is a firefighter who his best friend, who is also a firefighter from the Oakland Police Department, was for no reason at all shot and killed at point blank in downtown San Jose. And the firefighter that you're seeing, Patrick Stevie, the tall Caucasian guy, in trying to wrestle the gun away and save his friend, was also shot, very serious injuries, and in the hospital gave the police the description and incredibly helpful information to catch the perpetrator and hold him accountable. And as Patrick was giving the police officers this information, he apologized that he had to speak slowly and quietly because he'd been shot through the lungs. That's our first recipient. The second recipients are the family that's to the right. So there's a man in a salmon-colored shirt. That's the color shirt that Larry Stone would wear. And then that's his wife and son. And these 3 people, the husband and wife, are Jose and Juana Lopez, and they live in San Jose. And one day they're leaving their business to go home, and they notice a white van that stopped in the middle of traffic, and they see a driver in the van yelling at people that are standing on the side of the street. And suddenly the driver of the van pulls out a gun and shoots a number of the people that are standing there and drives the van quickly away. So what do Mr. and Mrs. Lopez do? They follow the van and call 911 and get the license, and they're trying to get the license plate number on the van to give to the police. And they jotted it down. I think we have the next picture. And they jotted it down on a Carl's Jr. coupon that Mrs. Lopez had in her purse. And they wrote down the SCMC 311. They wrote down as close as she could get the license plate number of the van, which she was off by just 1 letter, but it enabled the police to catch the person in the van. And then she and her husband testified in court and helped to convict this person of murder. So just tremendous work from Jose and Juana Lopez. And the last person, if Karen goes back to, I think the next photograph has it. Pardon me, the next photograph. Yes. The next person, this is Ramos Reyes. That's his name. And he is standing in the middle between 2 of our investigators, Mike Montanet, who's wearing the big Arizona State shirt, and Juan Avalos, 2 DA investigators. And this is Ramos Reyes' story. In 2017, he was an undocumented resident trying to make a living by selling fruit on San Jose street corners. He teamed up with his brother and a friend, and every day the three of them loaded up a shared van with fruit boxes to sell on street corners. On September 18th, it's near the end of the day, and the three of them are about to pack up the van. As Ramos stood on the corner, he saw a sedan slowing down. As the car pulled to the curve, the driver reached into his jacket, pulled out a large knife. Ramos quickly pulled out a cell phone and was able to take 2 clear photos of the back of the car that included the license plate. The driver, wearing a hooded sweatshirt with a large knife in his hand, suddenly jumped from the car and started running at Ramos, who ran away in fear of his life. After a short chase, the attacker gave up, got back in his car, and drove away. Ramos called 911. He described the man, his clothes in the car, and later showed officers the photos from his cell phone. The officers left quickly afterward. They were dispatched to a gas station a mile away where another man was dying in the parking lot with multiple stab wounds. Minutes earlier, the defendant, who we now know as Rodolfo Lopez, arrived at this gas station and killed one of the people at the gas station who was just eating a taco at a taqueria and horribly murdered him with this knife. None of the witnesses could help the police with accurate descriptions. Eventually, the police realized that the person that Ramos told them about was the same person who minutes earlier had stabbed and killed someone at a gas station. Eventually, they arrested the driver, they arrested the person, and that person was charged with attempted murder and murder by lying in wait. Now the trial comes, and we can't find Ramos. We didn't know where he was. The defense, knowing that we had lost contact with Ramos, withdrew their time waiver, and the case proceeded to trial. We found Ramos in Mexico. He had gone back to Mexico because he was too scared in the United States, and he lived in a very rural, mountainous region far from Mexico City. We found him. We subpoenaed him. He agreed to come back. He came back on his own. He bought a bus ticket and a train ticket and eventually got to the Tijuana border and met the 2 investigators from our office that you see, and came into court and testified, shaking, like he had been in the rain and was shivering, shaking, that scared to testify. And his testimony was crucial in convicting the defendant. And what I would say to you is that in our county, law enforcement does not report undocumented persons who report crimes, because such a system would undermine justice, decrease public safety, and subject undocumented residents to crime without protection. Nevertheless, many undocumented residents live in fear of reporting crime. But Ramos Reyes, an undocumented worker, he lived in that fear. But nevertheless, at trial, his own testimony showed he was willing to report a deranged stabber to the police, an act that would protect others, even though he feared he might be deported. He performed his civic duty and one day may be a citizen of our country. And I think we would all be proud to have someone like Ramos Reyes be a citizen of the United States, given that he's shown a lot of us what it really means to be a citizen and a human being. So he was our last Courage Award winner, and I just wanted to share his story and the other stories with you so that you would know, even in a time of just tremendous turmoil and racial unrest in our country, as we all know, there are a lot of really good people here that are trying to make things better. Thank you. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much, Jeff. And we really appreciate you taking the time to share what you've done in the community, what you anticipate the community is going to look like in the future, and to tell us the uplifting stories of courage. So thank you very much. I have a question from retired law enforcement. In reference to police oversight, what are your thoughts regarding early warning systems for law enforcement? And do you think they should be mandatory for all law enforcement agencies?
Okay. Yes and yes. And I think that's going to happen. I think that the police departments and police unions particularly are more open to change than they've been in the past. I think there's intense pressure on police unions to try to weed out problematic officers. And I think that they will be a partner, or at least not an obstacle in this effort. And I think that's absolutely crucial to do. And I think that the DA's office will try to play a constructive role in helping police departments to weed out bad officers, either through our prosecuting them or putting the officers on a Brady list where it's problematic for them to testify, or other measures.
Jeff, there was an op-ed in the newspaper earlier this week targeted toward the DA's office. And this question involves two factors in that op-ed. One, what do you think about the gang enhancements? And two, what do you think of the idea that all DAs should reject campaign support from police unions?
Okay, terrific questions. It happens that the author of that op-ed is someone I've talked to many times as a DA, and somebody I reached out to shortly after the murder of George Floyd, and he never got back to me. I guess he wanted to talk to me through an op-ed as opposed to in person. So in terms of the two of the issues raised, in terms of gang enhancements, that's something that we use judiciously in the DA's office. I think there is tremendous damage that criminal street gangs do to the communities that they operate in. And the communities that they operate in are disproportionately African American and Latino. And the individuals that are being harassed, intimidated, and held hostage in their own neighborhoods are hardworking African American and Latino people, much like the Lopez family that I just talked about earlier. And it's important to remove dangerous individuals like this from the community. Now, that's not the only answer to dealing with criminal street gangs. That's part of the answer. That's the prosecution, incarceration piece for those that are particularly violent and dangerous. And then, of course, the other pieces are dealing with youth crime and trying to address that and trying to keep kids out of gangs to begin with, and trying to get gang members to leave the gang and encouraging them to change their ways. Those are all things that we work on in the DA's office and with law enforcement. But for a small number of extremely violent and dangerous gang members, a long prison sentence is the best option. Not for all gang members, but for some. Second, on the issue of police union contributions. So as I've been an elected official for 10 years, less than 1% of the money I've raised is from police unions. 99% has been from everyone else. Even people on this call that I recognized, I've raised a lot more money from than police unions. And I think that this is an example of something that is symbolic and not substantive. And here's why. Even if you somehow prevented or got DAs or others running for DA to say, I won't accept money from police unions can still spend as independent expenditures for or against you. So it doesn't silence them. And so that's why I think it's just symbolic. And in fact, when I talked to one of the proponents of this, I said, so should I not accept money from criminal defense lawyers, from people that support the ACLU or George Soros? I even said, so you're telling me that I could accept money, or you who's supporting this, you would accept money from the family of a person you're prosecuting for murder, but not from the police union that those officers are from? I just didn't quite believe that. And the last thing I would say that's actually, I think, to give you an insight as to how I really think about these things, I do think not taking money from police unions is symbolic, and I think in the wrong way, frankly. I think it's a way of saying everybody's money is good. Criminal defense attorney money, tobacco money, bail bonds money, Soros money, everybody's money is good except for yours, police officer unions. You're bad, you're outside the pale. And I think that's a kind of scapegoating. And I think that if you want to make change in the criminal justice system, as I have and as I will continue to, you don't make change by condescending, dictating, and telling other people who have legitimate interests to protect their union members. You don't do that by telling them that they're bad people. And so I've had very strong disagreements with the police officers union in San Jose. You know, you can talk to them. They banned me from the, POA hall for many years for things that I had done. Nonetheless, I respect that they are trying to do what they believe is in their members' interest. And while I've disagreed with that, I've continued to try to work with them and others to bring changes. And not surprising to me, the prosecutor from another county who said, on the one hand, I want you to not take money from police officer unions, later in the conversation said to me, how did you get the police departments to work with you on cold cases? Because they have all of the evidence, and you need to get the evidence from them to work on these cases. And I said, well, this kind of takes us back to what we said before. They may not want to work with you because you've told them that their money is so bad that they shouldn't be allowed to give it. And that's not something I've done, and that's why I've been able to work with them.
Jeff, do you have a few more minutes to answer a few more questions?
I do. I've got another 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. And I do want to know that, I want you to know that one Rotarian just sent in the chat, tough job, new times. Thank you for your service, Jeff Rosen. How difficult do you anticipate the dismantling of the bail bonds industry? It seems like a powerful lobby.
It is a powerful lobby, and the power comes not just from the individual bail bonds companies, but it's actually large insurance companies that stand behind the bail bonds companies. So a bail bonds company has a reinsurance, they have insurance policies for when they have to pay out when somebody doesn't come to court. So to give one an idea of how much power this union has or how much money they have, after Senate Bill 10 was passed, which eliminated cash bail, set up pretrial services departments, and using risk assessment tools to help judges make the best decisions. Within a matter of a couple months, they had raised and gathered millions of dollars, and within months gotten the signatures to put a proposition on the ballot in November to undo Senate Bill 10. And now you might say, why would they spend all that money given that they might lose, right? Because if the legislature passed this, that must indicate there's some public support for getting rid of cash bail. Why would they do that? Here's why they did it. They were able to get this initiative and the number of signatures super quickly because once they'd gotten the required number of signatures, that froze Senate Bill 10. See, Senate Bill 10 would have taken effect a year and a half ago. it's worth it to them to just be able to write bail policies for another year or year and a half, and they'll make 10 times as much money as it costs for them to put the signatures on the ballot. So that's how much money there is. Now, as to whether this will pass in November, look, I'm going to, I've lobbied against it. I've written about it. I'll talk about it on radio and TV, and I'll try to inform people as best I can with a lot of help from others that what we want is we only want people that are dangerous in jail pre-trial or are flight risks. Everybody else, which is most people, can be safely released with a pretrial services department, which one can think of as like probation before being convicted. Someone that will, with ankle monitors or stay away orders or drug treatment, will monitor a person. And so I think that's a better approach. And just to tie into what you previously said, yeah, by the way, I've gotten a couple $1,000s as DA from bail bonds companies. And I think there's some political figure in California, and I can't remember his name, it might be Unruh, who said something like, whatever, if you can't drink their wine and take their money and then vote against them, then you shouldn't be in this job. And so, I feel a little bit like that.
There is a Netflix film called 13th that chronicles the incredible increase over the last several decades of Black and brown people being incarcerated versus white people who've committed the same offenses. What tools does your office use to address unconscious or conscious bias when making prosecutorial decisions?
This is a great question. This is probably the hardest question. Like, this is the hardest thing to change in the criminal justice system, and it is the disproportionality. And the reason I say that is, as I kind of alluded to earlier, we can reduce the jail population, we can reduce juvenile hall, we can reduce sentences, we can send fewer people to prison. But changing what that demographic mix looks like is proved very hard. I think part of that is in the criminal justice system, we're at the end of the train of life, where a person's been born, the neighborhood they live in, the educational and the job opportunities are different for different races in our society. And that plays a huge role in what the outcomes are. In terms of what we're trying to do to address our own implicit bias, there's a number of things. So we do a lot of training. We're very lucky in this area to have some of the leaders in implicit bias training and thought, and that includes Professor Jennifer Eberhard of Stanford and Professor Jack Weisberg of Berkeley, a little Cal-Stanford rivalry, who are both academics that have written a lot and also worked with police departments and for the first time DA's offices to addressing bias. I alluded to, we're looking to do our issuing in a race-blind way. But here's what's tricky about this. We did a study where we took a batch of cases where you could see the race of the people that were involved. I mean, it's not prominent, but it's there. And we took a same batch of similar kinds of cases and spent a lot of time redacting all of the information by hand. And the results weren't any different, not significantly different. And so, but there's still a value in doing this, because everybody who participated, who was issuing in the office and got a packet that had the identifiers redacted, understood that they were part of this practice we were doing. And it's a way of reminding people that we want you to make decisions based on what people have done and not what they look like or where they're from. So I would just say we're working on it. And there's been some, discussions about in cases of white collar crime, where the individuals are wealthy and represented by lawyers, often there's a conversation we have with that person's defense attorney before we file charges. And that defense attorney will give us a lot of mitigating information about why we shouldn't do this or why we should do something else. It's a standard kind of practice in U.S. attorneys' offices as well, like a pre-filing meeting. And what we thought is, you know, and just for white-collar crime, I mean, maybe this will make all of us feel better. Everybody commits white-collar crime. It's really white, it's Asian, it's Jewish. It's really, it reflects our whole society. But we thought maybe for other kinds of crimes, we could try to offer this pre-filing discussion with defense attorneys as well for crimes that are more committed by people that are predominantly African American or Latino. And that might be a way that we make different filing decisions. But again, it's hard because on the one hand, we want to be race blind in our decisions, but on the other hand, we really want to be race informed, you know, and to understand the different life experiences of people and how that might affect their choices and be sensitive to that. So it's a way of trying to be both fair and consistent. And those are sometimes in tension. In fact, I mean, the most important questions in life are where values are in tension and competing. So I would just say it's a work in progress right now.
And finally, Jeff, well, I have two, I'm trying to put some questions together now. Do you think there'll be a change in police departments being allowed to do chokeholds?
Oh, absolutely. I think the chokehold will be ended. I think that many of you have probably read or have heard of Campaign 8, the 8 things that Campaign 0 would like police departments to stop doing. And I think that those are reforms that are very sensible and reasonable. And I think you will see many of those reforms are already done by the police departments in this county, but I think you will see very soon all of the departments adopting all of those things. Shooting at cars that are moving is not a good practice, and that's something that's also going to end as well.
And finally, you spoke a little bit about the diversity of your office. There's a question about the diversity of your supervisors and assistants in the office. Could you describe that? And then I can't even read all the compliments that are coming in here. They're so pleased to have you here today, Jeff. You should know they're just rolling in.
Well, that's really nice. I'm really glad to hear that because, as you can imagine, I've been hearing from a lot of people in the community that have a different view most recently. So in terms of the management of the DA's office, so I'd include the assistants and the supervisors. So think like the middle managers and the executive managers in the office. Those are half women at this point. And in terms of minorities, in terms of African American, Latino, LGBT, Asian, it's also about 40%. It's pretty consistent. Specifically in terms of African Americans, there's 3 African American supervisors now, and I think that's more than we've had before. There are, off the top of my head, at least 3 Asian supervisors, 3 Latino supervisors, at least 1 gay supervisor. So it's good. It's not like that the work is done. There's more to do. And I think one thing that I know everyone understands here is, right, we're all trying to be like race blind and race conscious at the same time. So it's not like when I promoted Scott Sway, I'll use his name, who's the first assistant we have, who's Asian American, right? I didn't say, you're the best Asian American we could have for the, he's terrific, he's excellent, and he's Asian American, and he's an immigrant to this country. He wasn't born here. He came here when he was 12. He's an amazing person. And so I want to, recognize and celebrate the diversity, but also not make people feel that this is tokenism or that it's a quota or something. And I think that's always a struggle because sometimes people that don't get those positions, right? Sometimes when people don't get something in life that they're entitled to, they can respond one of at least two ways. A few ways. They can say, congratulations to the person who got it. That person's terrific. They can say, next time I'm going to work harder or do other things to try to get that, position. Or they can say, so-and-so got it because they're a woman, because they're black, because they're this, and just to be honest with you, the people that think that way, those aren't people that I want in my management team anyway. So, and that's not what I'm looking for. So, so that's what I got. Thank you for the compliments, Karen. And I'm so thrilled and pleased that I got to be the speaker for your last luncheon as president. I'm so sorry we couldn't do it together. And I absolutely wanted to share with you the winners of this year's Karen Sinutari Courage Award, because that was an idea you had, and it's a wonderful idea, and it's a tremendous gift to our office and legacy of your distinguished service in our office.
Well, thank you very much. Let's unmute and give Jeff a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you all stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And please don't forget to register for the gala.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Linda.
Bye, Karen. This is Rolanda.
I know. I saw you, Rolanda.
I know you did. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.